Okay. Marshall?
Yeah, hi, I can hear you.
Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear that. This is Lisa, and Marina's here with me. And I don't have a laptop, so I'm trying to finagle it on my desktop, but I don't have a camera or audio on my desktop. So I think, so either way, we're good because you can hear me and see us.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I can't see you, but I can hear you.
You can hear.
Okay.
And Marina's here, like I said.
As long as we can
Hey,
hear
Marie.
each other. Hi.
And Marshall, I'm really sorry. I do not have minutes, and I vowed I would have them last time around. So, but 2022, we have a new commission starting. So I want to make a good impression with them. Maybe that will help me get motivated.
Yeah, Lisa, did you reapply to the board?
No, I haven't. I saw your email that I need to do that.
Okay.
Do you have other applications that are interested?
Not that I know of. Yeah, I would send that to Faith as soon as possible.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, because I think technically the commission has to approve that before you know.
It's for beginning in January, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you guys see me?
I can see you.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard from anybody. Oh, okay. Cyril. Okay, this must be Tom.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, I can hear us. Okay. Can't see us, but can hear us.
That's okay, as long as you can hear us.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Marshall, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I haven't heard from anybody else, so maybe just give people a couple minutes.
Marshall, okay.
What's that?
Never mind.
Hey, I don't even want to touch it. Just if I touch it, it'll explode. I can see them.
All right, well, maybe let's get going, and we'll see if Laurel and Sarah trickle in. I think, yes, I know Sarah was said she was going to come, but had to leave a little early. So, all right. So Lucy, you said we don't have minutes. Hey, Lisa, can you hear us? All right. We'll try chatting Lisa and see if she can rejoin. Okay. Hey again, Lisa.
Okay. Should I just get out of this one? Maybe I'll leave this meeting
feedback or
and we'll
something.
just be on the phone.
Just need to hear us. So,
Are you back with us?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, we were just getting the minutes, so we don't have any minutes for this month or.
You can hear us okay?
Yeah.
okay, good.
So no minutes.
No, I'm sorry. I don't have minutes.
Okay. Faith might start scolding us at some point about that.
I can imagine she will.
Okay. Well, cool. Yeah, maybe in January we could see if anybody wants to do that to take the load off you if you want. Like Sarah, or, yeah, I don't know. All right, cool. So our first item here is the budget recommendations. So we talked about this last month, and then Laurel had some points mainly about the last section. So I sent it to her, and she reworked that last section about planting along Park Street and city entrances. And so yeah, basically just went with what she wrote there, and I think it looks pretty good. So does anybody have any thoughts for further edits on this?
No edits for me.
Oh, it looks good.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's good.
Well, good. Yeah, I think I'm glad we're getting this. We're getting this done around this time of year, and hopefully it will have a chance to be more influential than our budget recommendation last year, where we kind of hit it more toward the end of the process. So yeah, I guess it'd be nice if Laurel were here to speak for her edits, but yeah, maybe we could hold off on voting on that then to see if she comes online. But yeah, I think it'd be a good move for us to vote on that today and send it to the commission. So the other thing was the Tree City USA renewal. So this is due by the end of the month, and finally got those, like the budget and tree numbers from Cardos and put those in. So that Word document is basically the stuff that I just like enter in to their online application, and then it gets like populated into this kind of more formal looking application that then the city manager signs and we submit to keep our status. So I guess, does anybody have any thoughts on this? it's kind of interesting to see the funding numbers. I guess a lot of that came from the like ash tree replacement grant and stuff like that. But
this is just a designation. It doesn't come with any funding.
Correct, but I can't remember how it relates to funding, but I think with the Arbor Day grant through Montana DNRC, if you have Tree City USA status, then you qualify for more funding. Does that sound right to Lisa or anybody else who remembers that more than I do?
Say it again, Marshall.
Say it again.
Yeah, what did you say about getting more funding?
Oh, right. So Tom asked if the Tree City USA status comes with any funding. So it doesn't, it's just like a designation, but I said that I think that it qualifies the city for getting more funding for like the Arbor Day grant for Montana DNRC.
Right, to apply for that. I think so.
Yeah,
and
I remember that if you're a tree city, you get like double the funding. So it's like 700 something instead of like half that.
I think that sounds right, because generally we get 750 per year, right?
Yeah. And there may be other things like that. And then, this also is how we get the little signs at the entrances to town that say we're a tree city. So. So Sarah is joining us now, looks like. But yeah, I guess what I was hoping we would do at this meeting is approve this, and then I would fill out the online application, and then we get it submitted by the end of the year to keep the Tree City USA status. I see Sarah's trying to join. All right. Well, how about I'll make a motion to approve the Tree City USA renewal application.
I can second that.
Okay.
All right. Do our Zoom style roll call. This is Marshall voting yes.
This is Tom voting yes.
This is Lisa voting yes.
Maureen voting yes.
All right. Sounds good. So I'll fill out that online application here in the next couple of days and get that submitted. And I'm trying to record some of this stuff too, like in a booklet for the longevity of the board, like the login and password for the Tree City USA account and stuff like that. And just the information we need to track down, because that was kind of a hassle last year when we, I guess Mike Gomez had done that in the past and we didn't know about it. So, all right. So the item of new business here is our annual report to the commission. So this is the first time we've seen this. I just typed this out last week. Basically just bullet points of things we'd want the commission to know about, kind of a recap of what we've done last year. More or less in chronological order. So yeah, does anybody have any thoughts, suggestions, edits on this? Hey, Sarah.
Hi, I'm so sorry I'm late.
That's all right. So we're, in terms of the agenda here, we kind of skipped over a vote on the first item, the budget recommendation to hopefully get Laurel on. So we just voted to approve our Tree City USA renewal, and then we're talking about this first item in new business, our annual report to the commission.
Okay.
I don't know. So I don't know if it wants to. It's okay. There we go.
I sent an email to Laurel, but I haven't heard anything back from her.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So this annual report is another one that is like due this month. So we should vote on it in some form, like with, you know, with changes. So basically, if anybody has any like changes they want to see, then I would just make the edits and send it. I mean, I think it's basically just like a kind of a summary of what we've been doing. And I know we had talked a little bit about weaving in some kind of request for a different commissioner or whatever.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I look at it, I don't think it's really a secret that Mel hasn't been coming to our meetings, and that I know there are other commissioners who are potentially interested in serving on our board. So I just, if I put that in here, I wonder about if we don't get another commissioner, and we have, what Mel would think of that. So I just, the way I wrote it, I just kind of kept it to like, you know, here's what we did this year. I had also thought about like pointing out all the things that the city hasn't done with what we've submitted, but then I took that out too. Just,
well, it's tempting.
It is very tempting.
One thing I was thinking of, did you want to put in there the collaboration that we've had with PCEC?
Yeah. We could do that, I guess. So I think so the question is like whether the commission would, I mean, that's definitely something that we have been involved in. I guess we haven't really had any like action items around that.
Oh, good point. Right.
So I think, what I put as a note for myself in board comment, I wanted to say that in terms of like a support letter for that, I checked in with Erica at PCEC and just about whether they'd really had any ideas about the best way for the tree board to support that. And I guess where we left it was like kind of pushing that to next month with the new commission. So I guess, I'm happy to put some point on the annual report about it, but I think, the commission's also going to get like a letter, some kind of, I think we'll be weighing in on that with a letter to the commissioner sometime very soon, at least is how I envision it.
Okay. Yep. That's a good point. We haven't really taken any action on it. So that's a good point not to add it.
How about you, Tom or Maureen?
I think adding it after we've taken some actions a good way to go later on down the road.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. Cool. Yeah, Sarah, you as a new member, what did you think of this sort of fresh eye on what we've done the last year?
I thought it was really nice to kind of get an overview of what you had done in the last year to try and help me get some background.
Cool. Yeah, it made sense when you read it.
Yeah, it did.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. Yeah, I guess, yeah, this is just like something that is required of us as a board. So I would make a motion to approve this then, unless anybody has any changes they want.
I second it. It's Maureen.
All right. So our Zoom style roll call here. This is Marshall voting yes.
It's Tom voting yes.
Maureen voting yes.
Lisa voting yes. Okay.
All right, thanks.
Great. Thank you very much, Marshall, for putting that together.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, so our other item of new business here is the Arbor Day proclamation for the coming year. And I think typically we've done this in January because the application for the Arbor Day grant requires the proclamation for this year. And that I haven't checked the latest on that grant. I mean, we're not really in the business of doing the grant applications anymore. But yeah, I think that one is typically due like January or February. That's the one for planting a couple trees in a park or whatever. So I didn't have a formal letter for this one. You know, this is basically, I think if we vote on to approve this, it would just be me sending an email to Faith saying, you know, the tree board recommends that we, recommends to the commission that we have an Arbor Day proclamation for Arbor Day this year. And then it just goes, there's like a template form that Faith has that she's used the last year at least anyway. And it's usually just a quick item at the commission.
Correct. I actually created that about 5 years ago.
Oh, great. Thanks. I did not know that.
And yeah, so I think we can just request that they put that on the agenda so that they can approve it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Cool. Yeah. Well, I guess unless anybody has any objections, I would make a motion to recommend to the commission that we make an Arbor Day proclamation for 2022.
Do we have to put a date on there already for the date for that celebration or no?
Oh, I don't think for the city celebration. I think the proclamation is just like whatever Arbor Day is. It's just like the city recognizes, you know, National Arbor is going to recognize National Arbor Day.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
Does anybody have a second on that?
Do we have to? Okay, I'll second it.
Okay. So roll call here. This is Marshall voting yes.
Maureen voting yes.
Lisa voting yes.
Tom voting yes.
Sarah voting yes.
All right. Thanks everyone. So yeah, I guess we don't have Laurel here for our budget letter, but yeah, basically with her edits, like I accepted all her edits to that and just did like some editing for punctuation and stuff. So I thought her take on it was good, where it's basically, it's not just about like tourists in a town. It's like, hey, here's the, you know, this is a major part of our town that has all these different functions, including for, you know, walkability and bikeability, and that, you know, landscaping is a big issue in terms of all the different like entities are involved in managing that right of way, but that, you know, as a tree board, we're saying that this is something we encourage you to do, even if it's clear that there's not like a, you know, clear like first step to it right now. We're just sort of expressing a general priority that, you know, we'd like the city to consider looking at that.
Yeah, I think it looks good.
All right. Yeah, and then I think in the version I sent out, it was kind of as a packet with our like strategic plan or whatever, which I think, Lisa, that was your idea, which I think is good. So yeah, I guess if we vote to approve this, then I would be sending that letter with the strategic plan to the commission.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. It looks good.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'll make a motion to approve our budget and priorities recommendation for 2022.
I'll second it. It's Maureen.
All right. Roll call here is Marshall voting yes.
Sarah votes
Lisa.
yes.
Maureen voting yes.
And Tom voting yes.
All right. Cool. Well, we checked a lot of we've checked all the things off our list.
Very good.
Meeting.
Here.
That's great. So yeah, we do not have any members of the public attending today, so no public comment. So yeah, I guess I'm happy to have the rest of the time for just sort of like board comment and discussion. If anybody has any items to bring up.
Marshall, did you send out an email, or I saw it just recently, maybe Faith sent it out, that there will be board training coming up? They're scheduling board training so anybody on the tree board can participate.
Yeah, I didn't know if y'all had got that from Faith, so I just forwarded that email. So I think it's like January 12th from like 5 to 8. And I think it's in person, but I was going to send Faith a note that, like, you know, asking if there might be a Zoom option for people. And yeah, I'm gonna try to go to that. It's like kind of tough in terms of my like commute, my work commute on that day.
Okay. It's what day of the week is that?
It's a Wednesday.
A Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah, I would check that email, but I believe it's Wednesday, January 12th from 5 to 8 p.m.
And I think you have to sign up, right? Because she said something about ordering packets.
Yeah, which makes me think it's in person. So yeah, I think I really I don't know what to make of this. I think it's so the person who's putting on is the like MSU Extension local government, somebody from the MSU Extension local government office, and the topics that were listed in Faith's email were like, you know, overview of Montana's open meeting laws and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think this would be a great thing for people to go to. I think even if, yeah, I'm going to try and make it, but I think if somebody else could try and make it too, like, you know, if somebody, at least one person from the board could go, and then, you know, maybe at the meeting after that, give kind of like a overview of what they learned.
I'm going to try to make it.
Yeah, I am too.
Okay.
And I think when I attend the meeting, I'm going to ask them, it's not Dan Clark putting it on, is it? I'm not sure who's putting it on, but I am going to ask about a board's prerogative is for doing any independent research on their own or checking with other government entities. So I think I would love to see that clarified a little bit more about what kind of authority or what kind of independence we can have as a board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm hoping that there is time. I'm hoping it's not just like a bunch of PowerPoint slides and that there's, time for discussion, because, and maybe it will be kind of the start of a relationship with that person at MSU Extension where, boards and or the city can ask questions about some of that, because I think there could be a good discussion,
Right.
about particularly how tree boards in the state, like in these other communities like Dillon or Townsend or whatever, have like a very active like volunteer role. And, are they operating outside of the bounds of city or state law by doing that? Is it really a matter of city preference? Is it, yeah, I still think there are a lot of unanswered questions there. And
I think, I'm not sure if the new commissioners are going to be invited to that. I think they are. So it would be great to maybe reach out to the new commissioners about our board.
Yeah, I think, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just give them a, give them some information about what we're up to and what we want to accomplish in 2022. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the new commissioners, or maybe, all the commissioners are invited to it. So.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that is promising. Let's see here.
We survived without you, unfortunately.
What's that?
Sorry, excuse me.
Oh. Yeah, Tom, did you have anything about like the
tree equity
infrastructure bill?
Well, it's stalled right now, but anyway, the Build Back Better legislation proposed by Biden, it's been whittled down, and it's stalled right now until after the first of the year, because Manchin from West Virginia wants to, I don't know, has some worries about something. But they're in the proposed $2 trillion bill. They have $3 billion with a B earmarked for planting trees. It's been called tree equity, and I found some articles dating back to September. This latest one was right around Thanksgiving, and it refers to it as, in terms of tree equity, as that in poorer neighborhoods, like in urban areas, I imagine mainly, there's not as many trees growing, and so there's not as all the benefits we talk about for trees with the shade and the storm runoff and the helping clear the air, just all the benefits we talked about, we all know about, that urban trees provide. Let's see, here's one paragraph. Neighborhoods where majority residents are people of color, on average, 33% have 33% less tree canopy cover than majority white neighborhoods. And so the nothing's set in stone right now. The bill hasn't passed, but they're providing money, and who knows whether it's going to be trimmed back, because they're taking heat from the other side of this wasteful spending about designating $3 billion for planting trees. But I kind of pay attention to the news. So when the Congress gets back after the first of the year and they start debating it again, when they finally perhaps pass it, if they do pass it, then I'll find out more. But just doing a Google search, all it turns up is news articles. Mm-hmm. There's Google now has this thing that pops up when you do search. People, when they search for this, they also search for this. And there's a little box of things that people search for. And one of them was something to the effect of, how do I apply for the money? And nothing turns up when how do you apply for the money? So apparently it's too early to even consider applying for the money. But when it does pass, then we'll have to be get in there and see if Livingston qualifies, because we pretty, aside from the new areas, which are not, low income areas, such as, well, I can't remember the names, the Trail Ridge or View, out there, Star Edition, all that, out that side of town. They're not low income, so I'm not sure if they'd qualify. And our neighborhoods, we already have like quite a few trees in a lot of neighborhoods. So we'll see. I'll keep on it and find out. But like I said, when I sent it to Marshall, it just sort of popped up in my Twitter feed one day, and it's like, what? $3 billion for planting trees. And so I shared it with the PCEC group, with Erica Lighthouser, and with Marshall, and then did a little bit of reading on it. So it's a little too premature, but maybe there's some funding there.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the other thing I was wondering about is the removal program. Again, I emailed Marshall. Right after our last meeting, I jumped on the bike and went out to, I think it's called Myers Trail, where they did the those little tiny houses back in around Halloween, I think. I can't remember when that was, but little fairyland world out there. So you take the trail and you end up opposite Mayor's Landing on the other side of the river, where the bridge would connect if they go ahead and build that bridge. And yes, if you've been on that trail, you kind of go along an old road along what must be, I call it Watson's. I don't know who owns the property now, but sort of behind the hospital, there's cow pasture and it's an old road there. And then it narrows up, to just a walking trail. And right there where it narrows, somebody flagged about, I think, at least 4 cottonwoods. And then other people were like, what, it's kind of a natural area. Can't those cottonwoods left on their own to, maybe they'll fall down someday. But so I went out and looked. They had not been removed at that point. 3 of the 4 look like your average old cottonwood along the river, and 1 looked like a snag. The leaves were gone, of course, at this time, so I couldn't tell 100%, but 1 did not have a lot of branches up top, so it did look like a snag. I'm sure it supports some life during the summer, but not a lot. Whether it's going to fall down or not, I've heard that argument a lot since being on the tree board. Oh, we've got to trim or cut down these ash trees in town because they might fall on somebody. Well, turns out that, when we have these high wind events, I don't see or hear of many ash trees falling down, and those cottonwoods survived the high winds. So, the city, it's a judgment call, and I would side on the side of the people that say, can't we just have that? It's more or less of a sort of a natural trail on that one particular trail. Anyway, they haven't been cut down yet. I haven't seen any evidence of tree cutting yet
I hate to interrupt, but they have cut down quite a few of those trees on the Myers Trail. I'm on it about weekly, and 2 or 3 of those trees have been cut down and put into the side channel.
Okay. Yeah, this was the last meeting. It was the last time I was out there, the day after our meeting, maybe even after we got done last meeting. So how many did they take down?
There was 3 to 4 that were marked on either side of the trail, almost where it meets with the Myers Road, or I don't know what the name of that road is. And they had been marked for a long time. And the last time I was up there, they had been cut down, and they just left them in the side channel of the river there that has water in it sometimes. So and it must have happened within the last 2 weeks. So
yeah, I haven't been out.
I'm kind of surprised by that. So yeah, after the last meeting, I had a back and forth email with Cardos, and so basically what I was told was that well, first of all, that the trees, he said the trees were selected from the inventory, and I pointed out that the inventory did not include any trees on Myers. But he said that the trees were like confirmed by Eric before he left. So I don't know. Apparently, yeah, I'm under the impression it wasn't just like Dan walking around, that it was Eric who picked the trees, who, you know, he had the tree hazard credential or whatever. So I guess those trees were marked initially to be included in the hazard tree grant, but that the grant, like the contractor's quote came in over the grant amount. So they dropped the Myers trees, and Cardo said they were just on the sort of list to take down at some point with city staff. So I was under the impression those were going to be like, you know, maybe stay up for a while or maybe never get cut down. But yeah, okay. I guess they've been cut down.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked to see them cut down. I had seen that they were marked in yellow for a long time, and I was sort of surprised after the last meeting, and then being on that trail quite frequently, seeing that suddenly they were gone. So
yeah, so I don't want to just like drop that issue completely. I guess I don't really have a clear idea. Maybe others could think about this, of like, yeah, how to address that in the future as a tree board. So I think that, you know, we're asking the city to revise the tree management plan or create a new tree management plan. And if they were to do that, then we would be, you know, offering substantive comment on what the city proposes in that, so that, you know, we could express our views of like hazard tree management and that. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I guess, you know, maybe we could consider some kind of letter to the commission. So Sarah Stans at the last meeting was proposing like kind of a stakeholder meeting or something like that. We would request a stakeholder meeting. And yeah, so I guess I'm just not really clear on the best way to address it. And maybe if we have another commissioner on our board starting in January, that could help us get some traction on that. Yeah, or maybe after like this training in January, we'd see another sort of opening. But basically, I think as it stands now, you know, it's like the city has this old tree management plan that's kind of, yeah, used as the basis for justifying taking down these hazard trees. And it could change too with Eric gone. I mean, before they had somebody in-house who could just go around and be like, you know, that's a hazard tree, take it down. So now they don't have anybody with that credential. So they would, I don't know if they're gonna like hire it out to somebody like Andy, or yeah, how that's gonna work.
That's a good question. And I think, yeah, I mean, it just makes me all the more anxious to have a commissioner, that we can at least ask those questions to.
Mm-hmm.
And get some more concrete information than we have now.
When the new commissioners take their seats, we need two things resolved. One, our commission member on the tree board, and two, what Lisa was talking about is the gag order that Cardos imposed. Those two things need to be resolved.
Right.
Yeah. Those are pretty big issues we have to try to work around.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, without a commissioner, I mean, we talked about it before. I haven't stayed to the end of the commission meetings, but, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, they go around and check with the commissioners about the boards that they sit in on and ask for updates. And so we have not had an update. And I don't know, I can't remember when I joined the tree board, but that's about the last meeting that I saw Mel at. So it's been close to a year without any input to the city commission. And of course, you know, out of sight, out of mind. And that's then the nice. Gag order is something else. It's just,
yeah. Right.
You know, if you read it literally, which, you know, he was pretty strict about it, in between meetings, we're not allowed to talk with anybody about anything related to trees. And, you know, the city has a health board. Well, city has city members or city delegates on the health board, and two of them back, I can't remember when, it's December now, so it might have been September or early October. Two of them sort of spoke out at one of the meetings, and next day Cardos was calling for their resignations because they were not towing the line. So I think he's pretty serious about wanting to, you know, keep a tight lid or thumb on his boards. Mm-hmm. That has to end.
I'm looking forward to, yeah, I think this makes me all the more determined to go to the training in January, just to ask whoever that MSU, whoever that contact person is, because I think they have some good information.
We need some clarification.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when Andy was on the board and he was talking about, well, I'll go talk with, we had some questions. It might have been about Mel. I said, oh, I'll go talk with Courtney Llewellyn. And I don't think she's going to give us a
no, not at all. And I think it was right after Andy talked to her that he resigned from the board. So
yeah, I'd like to go to the meeting. I mean, the training also. I don't know if somebody's going to put our names in, or should I contact Faith, or all of us contact Faith individually?
I would contact Faith individually.
Okay.
I'll do that as soon as I get.
Did you get her original email, or did you only get it from me?
I don't know who, I have it. I don't know who it came from. Let me look. Okay. I could give you an update on what the PCEC is doing.
I think I got it from Faith.
Yeah.
So everybody on the committee has different things on their to-do list. Joe Armbrust, who you know, doesn't live here anymore, but still, you know, he grew up here and he has his mom's properties, rentals all around town. He's raising the funds. The last time I emailed him, I said, well, how much money? Because I think he's giving some money himself, and then some strange reason, his company, which is in New York State, is going to match the funds that either Joe gives himself or helps raise. So they're going to match the funds, even though it's for a project out in Montana. And he thinks there's going to be close to about 15,000 available. So the other, my job was to kind of find some trees to purchase, and then all the accessories that go with trees, such as, you know, you're going to stake it, and then, you know, wire it for the wind, you know, support it for the wind, mulch, do we need to wrap them with wire to protect against deer? So I'm working on that, but the main thing I did was just yesterday I met, I stopped into Ace and talked with Ace Hardware and talked with Tom Schellenberg. I've known the Schellenbergs, I've known Tom for years. And Ace gets a lot of its trees from Glacier Nursery up in the Flathead. And I called them about a month ago, called Glacier Nursery, talked to the owner. The receptionist put me through to the owner. It's, you know, it's November. They're not doing a lot right now. So we had a lot of time to talk. And he was like, you know, I'd love to help out, but, you know, I don't want to really piss off my local customer, my customers there in Livingston, because he sells to Ace. He sells to the place that's behind Spurline, that little nursery behind Spurline. I can't remember the name of that. I think Murdoch's might buy some trees from Glacier. So he said, you know, I'm not sure if I could sell to you folks directly, but, you know, talk with one of my local, you know, buyers or retailers. So stopped in and talked with Tom. I said, it looks like this tree group, you know, kind of an offshoot of PCEC, will have enough money to purchase about 50 trees. And so I gave him the rundown. Here's what we're doing, offering them free to people. It's just boulevard trees, although they want to maybe plant some up at the HRDC housing on the hill and some around the skate park right next to the Civic Center. And so, I mean, he didn't hesitate. He said, sure, you know, you can purchase them through ACE at cost from Glacier Nursery. So I have to come up with a list, how much, if we order 50 trees, what trees we want to order, and then get it in soon, because ACE, and I guess a lot of other places, have already placed their orders for the, you know, summer 2022. So that's what, as far as we've gotten so far. I need to come up with a list. We've asked, Marshall had some input on different types of trees for large, you know, you guys have seen the list. The city has an extensive list of boulevard approved trees, but we weren't going to offer the free trees. We're going to offer every single tree on the list to people who want to sign up for the free trees. We were thinking like 2 large trees, maybe 3 large trees, 2 medium, and then 2 small if somebody has power lines along their boulevard. That's one of the things I want to do in the next couple of days, is kind of not drive every single street in town, but drive some streets in town to see how many boulevards are encumbered with power lines. So far, I only know of Geyser for sure, but because a lot of times they go through the alleys, so we don't have to worry about it on the boulevards. So that's where we are. I just met with Tom Schellenberg yesterday afternoon. I emailed the 5 or 6 people on that committee. Just heard back from Erica Lighthouser and Joe. And so we want to put together a kind of a list. And then on Monday, I'm going to see about, Schellenberg said, go, you know, work with the manager or assistant manager down there at ACE to put in an order. So we'll put it in order, and then they'll pay for the trees once they arrive. I'm not sure when they arrive. Maybe it's April, maybe it's May, but so that's where we are right now. They're, you know, they wanted to start small with about 25 trees. I sort of been like, sort of pushing them to
Thanks, Sarah.
To expand that to 50 trees. I don't know if any of you guys saw the city, when they cut down those ash trees around town, they followed through. They planted trees, different varieties, big trees. And so that's the other thing we've been discussing on that with that group is, do we go with big trees like that, which costs a lot more, and then you need a bobcat or something to, you know, move them around because they're so heavy, and something to dig a fairly big hole for those? Or do we go with the smaller trees like you typically see at, you know, for sale at ACE and Murdoch's? So I think we're going to go with the smaller ones for cost and for manageability. So, and then Sarah Sands is working. I can't remember the group she found last summer, and they did a lot of volunteer work around. They stayed up at Pine Creek, and they did, I can't remember what they did. They did a bunch of volunteer work around town. She's applying for that same grant to get that same group of people, you know, not the exact individuals, but, you know, more people coming this summer, and those people would love to plant trees. So somebody else on the committee is working on the advertising and the launch, which will happen after the first of the year, on social media and in the enterprise, and start getting people signed up. So it looks like we'll go with 50 of the smaller trees, which, you know, I went over and talked to one of the tree experts, whatever, over at Cashman, when I was over there last week, 2 weeks ago. And she was saying, if they're well cared for, properly planted, watered, which is basically all you have to do, basically, the smaller trees should survive just as well as the larger trees, which is, just to segue a little bit, the city apparently only watered the trees that they planted for about a month. And so I'm kind of concerned about how well those are doing, or how well they'll do over the, you know, if they're going to come back next spring. Yeah. Because watering's the key.
And we also have protecting them from deer, because we have quite a problem with deer coming and rubbing on the bark and killing the trees. So it's another thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm drawing a blank. There's a woman on the committee, Robin Atticott. She put me in touch with some guy. I think he's just down 89. Even before you get to Carter's, has a landscaping business. So I was asking him, and you guys may know also, because I'm not sure in terms of protecting from deer, whether that white corrugated stuff you put around a tree trunk will be enough, or do you have to wrap it? Because I don't know. First thing, a lot of times they go after the bark, after the trunk. They chew the bark or rub it or whatever with their antlers. So those things help protect. But do they, is the next step, do they eat all the branches, the lower branches that they can reach? So
yeah, I would fence them. I think I've got a pretty good system on these trees I planted for my neighbor on Geyser.
Yeah,
corner of like 12th and Geyser, if you want to check it out. But yeah, I think they need to be fenced, and because the plastic things, you don't want those on all year, because the trunk gets like cooked.
Oh, okay.
And and then it's also like, it's not allowing the trunk to sort of like weather and develop, I think. I don't know, that's sort of a half-baked opinion. But and then it also, it can only go up to like the bottom branch, which on a lot of those small trees is like, 3 feet or less. And then you've got all this like exposed above there. So I think it's good to do like three T-posts, like a 5 or 6 foot T-post, and then do like 4 foot welded wire, but then hold it like a foot off the ground and wire it to the T-posts.
Right.
So that people can weed, they can mow and weed eat around the tree. And then you put the tree guard, like the plastic tree guard at the base. Because otherwise I think people get frustrated with trying to mow or like keep weeds down around.
Yeah,
like when I did my trees in the boulevard, I just put the welded wire on the ground, and then it's just a pain. You got to pull bindweed off and stuff.
That stuff. Okay.
So that's where they are. I don't know where the money's coming from. It's going to be close to 15,000, and that's pretty amazing. So that's a good thing. And I said, if they don't get enough participants that want the trees in the boulevard, then we can find some city parks to plant the remaining trees in. I mean, it's hardly whatever the city wants in terms of where to plant the remaining trees.
Well, I think wherever they're planted and everything, I think we should all, hopefully, once we know where the locations are, we can all keep a close eye on how the watering is going. That'll be maybe, maybe if we know where they are, we can try to be out there and checking it out too. So
maybe get some volunteers signed up to help water.
Yeah.
If they're allowed to.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they're going to have a spreadsheet of where they're planted. And they were talking about some software that automatically would send a text to the it's called Adopt a Tree program, to the adoptees, just a little text. They don't have it yet, but they're talking about it. That send a text like, hey, time to water.
Reminder's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I also mentioned when I was over at Murdoch's, Livingston Murdoch's doesn't have them, but Bozeman Murdoch's has the you know, they're big plastic water tanks. They're made to sit in the back of a pickup truck. Well, they're tanks. You can put whatever you want inside them. But a 150-gallon tank, I was like, you know, maybe this group should, since they have this money available, buy one of those and water. Heck, I'd be willing to water the ones that the city planted if the people that, you know, the property owners aren't taking care of them.
Yeah. Well, the tree board had a watering tank, and
really?
we gave it back to the city, but it's just probably sitting there. So just so people know about that. Yeah.
Well, right. When I email Faith about the training, I'll ask maybe about the water tank.
Okay. Might as well get it back.
So that's the only news I have.
All right. So our next meeting would be January 20th over Zoom. If that works for people.
Yep.
Sounds good.
All right. Great. Well, thanks everybody. We'll yeah, I'll send all this stuff off to the city that we approved today, and we'll see you at the maybe at the training or on the 20th.
Okay.
Thanks, Marshall.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays.